Welcome back to another episode of Boom or Bust, your home for NFL Draft Talk. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're talking about the NFL Draft first round. Draft day's finally here. First round has come and gone. I was out and about. I didn't get to see the action, but I'm looking at the recaps, and I want to recap each pick with you. So, any fans of any team, if you're listening, want to hear my recap about the pick your team made, then let's sit tight. Let's start at number 1, Baker Mayfield. So the buzz had been that Baker Mayfield was going to go number 1. So it's not a total shocker, that it happened. Now, as far as me personally, I don't see how Baker goes number 1 if you're looking for a quarterback. Now, we can sit here and talk about different styles and whatnot, but let's be honest. As far as Darnold, Rosen, and Baker, and some extent Josh Allen, you're talking about guys that could fit any scheme. So it really just came down to who you like. Now, I'm not going to knock a team for liking who they like because they got their reasons. But for me personally, there's no scenario where I take Baker over Josh Rosen. And we could talk about Rosen and his attitude. We could talk about Josh Allen and the tweets. But, yeah, not a shocker, but still a little bit surprising. So either way, I mean, I don't think the number 1 thing is as big as a deal as people go, especially when you were Browns and you got 2 picks in the first, top 5. So, Baker goes there. That's fine. But, I don't know. I really don't feel too swayed one way or the other. We'll see kind of what they do with Tyrod and Baker. So number 2, we got Giants going Saquon, the pick that nobody thought would be made. Nobody believed that the Giants would actually take running back that high. And so they made the pick, understanding that they might not be in love with these quarterbacks. So they went ahead and went with the best player that they felt. And I like Saquon. I think he's a 5-star prospect. I would never take him this high, but again, you got Eli coming towards the end of his career, and for some reason they're all in with Eli, thinking they're going to make a Super Bowl run. I think that's hilarious, seeing how he's been playing, but that's what they want to do, give him weapons and hopefully try to ride this to the playoffs. Number 3, Darnold to the Jets. The Jets made the move to 3. They understood that they were in perfect position to catch whoever they wanted. A lot of people believe the Jets felt comfortable with a number of quarterbacks, so they would sit back and take whoever was their highest rated, and that's exactly what they did, presumably taking Darnold. I mean, big arm. I don't think he's built for New York. I don't think they're going to like him as much. Like, you'll like him if he's winning games, but he's not Baker Mayfield. He's not Rosen. He's not the rah-rah guy. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic, but as far as a player, you unlock a whole lot of stuff that you can do in that offense when you bring in an arm like, Darnold. Now, the shock of the draft for me. I've made no type of hesitation to tell you Denzel Ward I'm not a fan of him. And so to see him go 4 over Bradley Chubb, I don't know what I'm more shocked at, that he went that high, that he went before a lot of these other players, that he went before Chubb. I don't know what's more shocking, but I just can't see it. And it reminds me of Justin Gilbert 2.0. I was making a joke about that earlier, but it does remind me because Justin was a great athlete, and people felt like, okay, he's a great athlete. He's going to come in, be a cover man corner. And I thought so too. I thought watching the tape, cause I was still watching back then. I'm like, okay, he'll be cool. I didn't think he'd go that high, but he went. And yeah, we know what happened. Now that's more about the player than it is, or the person than the player. So, Denzel's got a chance. With that athleticism, he's got a chance, but I just don't, it's a 50-50 shot whether he can get coached out of his habits of not looking for the ball, and so we'll have to see. But taking him over Chubb, that's tough. Denver taking Chubb, that's a no-brainer. You lose DeMarcus Ware, you want to get back to putting fear in the quarterback's heart when you won a Super Bowl. You got Von Miller on one side. Von Miller saying Bradley Chubb is a mix of him and Khalil Mack. So I think Von's going to really help him out. Now, number 6, Quentin Nelson. Again, I came to the conclusion I wouldn't take a guard that high, even though I think Nelson's a 5-star prospect. Colts, they were in a great position, and really at this point, you got so many holes, it's whatever. So why not help out the quarterback? I think Nelson's going to be great. I don't know if I would have passed up some of these other blue chippers though. 7, Buffalo trades up, it looks like, to come get Josh Allen. So everybody knew they were in striking distance at 12. Josh started to tumble. We'll never know if it's because of the tweets or if this is just where he was. But the Buffalo Bills come up to get their guy, big arm guy, for a team that plays in a lot of bad weather. And so I think it's going to work out. And I think it's interesting. I think people are giving A.J. McCarron a way harder time, like ridiculously. Like, he hasn't played. Let him play. He might be really good. The same thing like with Jimmy G. He didn't really get a chance to play that much, but he showed flashes and people believed in him. AJ showed flashes. Nobody believed in him, but we'll see. So Josh hopefully don't have to be thrown into action. Then my Chicago Bears at number 8, we stay pat, get one of the blue chip defenders, Roquan Smith. As simple as that. At number 9, holy crap. Everybody told me I was crazy. Everybody told me it was no way McGlinchey was going to go this high. It was no way that we had a tackle that was worth it this year. And lo and behold, 49ers take Mike McGlinchey at 9. They stay pat. I think he's going to end up being a right tackle to start off until Joe Staley goes somewhere. But I honestly think he has left tackle potential. But either way, I think you got a hard-nosed grinder for a team that likes to run the ball. Then we go to number 10, where we get the Cardinals trading up to get their quarterback, Josh Rosen. That's crazy. Rosen, again, you like which quarterbacks you like. To me, if it's me, Rosen's miles ahead of a couple of these guys. So him going 10, again, we'll never know. Was it about his attitude? Was it that he just wasn't graded as a better player? So we'll have to see. Number 11, Minka going to the Dolphins, falling out of top 10, which is something I kind of debated with a friend on another podcast, and it ended up happening. I think now the one thing I will say is that nobody thought he would fall out of the top 10 with Derwin James. And a lot of people thought Derwin James would go ahead of him and push Minka down, but that's not the way it shook out. So surprised by that, but I think the Dolphins get a versatile guy. I'm starting to get a little jealous about Minka. Like draft day, I was like, man, you know what? Minka's a question mark. I get it, but the stuff you could do with him just on the stuff he can do, that intrigues me. So then we go to 12. Tampa Bay traded back, and they end up going with Vita Vea. Interesting, because Tampa put a lot of money into, or at least cap or resources onto the D-line this offseason. So a lot of people said secondary all the way. Not only did they pass up taking Minka and staying at their spot, but they traded back and could have got Derwin James and passed him up and went with Vita Vea. So, some people believe in trenches, and trenches is a good place to stockpile talent. So you got Vita Vea taking up double teams while Gerald McCoy gets to go one-on-one. It's going to be nasty. Then we go with another big boy. I love the D tackles going. Washington Redskins takes Deron Payne, Alabama, pairs him up with his former teammate Jonathan Allen. Holy crap, I like it. I absolutely like it. Again, you want to build somewhere, build the trenches. Well, there's so many good, decent picks that are around the same grade. It doesn't shock me, people kind of going with the trenches, because that's something is kind of safe. Not as far as the player, but as far as a position to build. Now, the Redskins passing up Derwin James and whatnot, who knows? So the Saints, they trade up. They go way up. I heard it was a big trade, and they go and get Marcus Davenport. And the Saints, everybody thought it was a quarterback. I said, why would you go get a quarterback now when you got Breeze for probably 2 more years, and you were so close this year in the playoffs, so you probably want to build for right now and not worry about the future. But they still gave up some future capital, but you got a pass rusher. You're not trying to replace Breeze. You're trying to get him to the Super Bowl. So Marcus Davenport, though, is a project, and the Saints lost a lot of talent. So you're talking about asking Marcus to get on the field right away. You gave up a lot of picks, so you're talking about him producing right away. I'm not sure I love the situation. Colton Miller, holy crap. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. The measurables and height, weight, speed. He's boom or bust. He's a project. He's everything you want to say because he did not look great on tape. I don't care what the people tell you. But he looks good in shorts. And so people want to take a chance at building him up. The Raiders trading back with the, Cardinals. And you got to protect Carr. You want to keep him healthy. I get it. And with Gruden at the helm, I'm shocked. I'm shocked he's not a defender. And I'm shocked it's not a more polished lineman, to be honest with you. 16, Bills trade back up with their second first round pick, and they get Tremaine Edmonds. They get their quarterback, and they get one of the best defenders in this draft. I mean, draft night's crazy. That's why we said all these mocks and all this conjecture. It's nice to talk about what we want to do, but it doesn't matter because we don't pick. These teams pick. Tremaine Edmonds, top 5, top 10, all this goes all the way down to 16. Buffalo don't want him to fall. They go and get him. Great pickup for any team because he can play inside and out. I think you just added a super versatile piece to that puzzle. Chargers, holy crap, they gotta be dancing. This is kind of what Derwin was, people mocked him at early in the year. And, the buzz like the last week was that his medicals are clear and that people are going to take him in the top 10. But the Chargers stayed pat. He fell to them and they get a desperately needed position. And I hope he stays healthy. He's going to be good. Packers got to be happy. They traded back, then traded back up with Seattle. So they get Jair Alexander. I like him more than Ward, but I'm not the biggest fan of him. But they need corners. They've tried it many times, so we'll see if it works out. Cowboys at 19, Leighton Vander Esch. I love him. I thought he would be more underrated in this draft, but I'm glad to see he got some love. Excuse me. Big fan of Dallas, apparently, and Dallas liked him. And I think he's going to be a playmaker. And you talking about pairing him with Jalen Smith. Don't forget about that. And hopefully he's still getting healthy. So I think he really made your linebacking core more dynamic. 20. If Denzel Ward didn't go number 4, this would be my shock of the draft. I heard Frank Ragnow in the first round, and I dropped my coffee that I don't drink. I watched him. I like him. Second time I watched him, I was like, okay, he's a little better than I thought, but never a first round pick. He's a 3-star prospect for me. So someone's going to have to explain that one to me. I really don't have words for it. I don't see what people see in Frank Ragnow as far as getting him this early. Billy Price, love Billy Price. A lot of people thought Buffalo or Cincinnati. That's not a shock. Buffalo or Bengals still trying to rebuild that line after losing so many pieces. I think this is a good first step. Tennessee get Rashaan Evans. They wanted to get Tennessee traded up to get Rashaan Evans. Tennessee, losing some linebackers. They trying to get that defense, squared away. I think this is a great pick. He'll be there for a long time. The Patriots, staying put, getting Isaiah Wynn. A lot of people thought Patriots would trade, but they didn't. Now they listed him as a tackle. That's interesting, but it's the Patriots. They kind of know what they're doing with the O-line. I was about to say California. Carolina Panthers at 24. This is one a lot of people thought they would do. Get some speed to go with Kelvin Benjamin. Or not Kelvin Benjamin. What's the other big boy? Devin Funchess. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think they're going to add a dynamic running back as well. So you're talking about McCaffrey, hopefully another dynamic running back, Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. It should be interesting the type of formations they can do. Personally, I hope they don't try to stick DJ Moore on the outside because I don't think he's built for it. So they need to keep him in the slot. The Ravens, trading back, getting Hayden Hurst. Tight end is a position of need and trying to get Flacco weapons as many as possible. Now, how you pass up Calvin Ridley right there, I don't know. But they did bring in a number of receivers this year in the offseason. Then, speaking of Calvin Ridley teams up with former Alabama receiver Julio Jones going to the Falcons. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people, they want to build a balanced team. Some people, they just want to kind of add more to the strengths that they already got and say, let's beat them with our best stuff. And that's what the Falcons are doing. Our offense is clicking, but hey, let's just keep adding to it. They lost Taylor Gabriel, but Calvin Ridley's not Taylor Gabriel. He's different. So it'll be interesting how they work Mohamed Sanu and Julio and Calvin. But hey, the Falcons have always shown that they got guts, so I don't knock them for that. Seattle taking a guy that I think fits perfectly. This is one of the best fits that I have for Rashad Penny. That's Seattle. Did I think it was first round? No. I love Rashad Penny. I thought he was the next best back after Saquon, but I didn't think anybody else would go in the first at running back. So interesting, but I like the pick. Some old linemen you could have got, like James Daniels, hello, but, you know, I like the pick. 28, Steelers. Thought they were going to get safety. Thought it was going to be Ronnie Harrison, or I thought it might be Jesse Bates. You got to think they were thinking about trading up when they saw Derwin James falling, but they go with Terrell Edmonds, the brother of Tremaine Edmonds, who I didn't get to watch. Honestly, I saw a little bit of tape. He didn't have enough for me to evaluate, but I heard about him being a freak like his brother. I saw a little bit of tape, and I thought he was solid. I thought he was real good, but first round, that was a little bit of a shocker. Jacksonville, talking about adding strength to your strength. They go ahead and add disruptive D lineman to an already disruptive defensive line, where you're talking about Calais Campbell, you're talking about Fowler and Ngakoue on the edge, and now you're talking about Taven, which they didn't have a true 3-tech, I don't think. I think they had a lot of rotational guys, but a true disruptor like Aaron Donald was, I didn't think they had that. And so this is the place for a project like Taven Bryan to go and get taught and coached up. So interesting to see how that works out, but he's boom or bust to me. We'll see how his attitude is. Minnesota Vikings go Mike Hughes. I feel like they always go on corners, but Xavier Rhodes was the only one that hit. I'm not a fan of Mike Hughes. I really thought Minnesota could have added a guard or center here and really fortify that line and help out Kirk Cousins. But yeah, defense is always a need, and you always can add young corners, but I'm not a fan of Mike Hughes. Patriots, they stay put and get Sony Michel, even despite the injury concerns. Now this here, I thought also was going to be a lineman, but they double up on Georgia. So, Isaiah Wynn will be blocking for his former teammate, or still current teammate. And so Sony Michel goes to the Patriots. So after the Patriots not picking in the first round for years, they picked twice. Then lastly, Baltimore Ravens trade up and they take Lamar Jackson, quarterback. Talking about building for the future. Talking about getting Flacco ready to transition out after he hasn't done much since the Super Bowl. Interesting. That's all I can say. I don't know who in that building that I would say is prepared to really build on Lamar Jackson. So I don't know. I can't wait to find out. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the first round. It's crazy every year. I can't sit here and say this is crazier. It's always crazy. So a lot of unexpected things, some expected things. As far as going into the second round, and I'll cover all this, don't worry. But I just say Will Hernandez still on the board. Huge shock. I think he's just as good as Quinn Nelson. James Daniels, who I think is good, but the hype around him, you would have thought he was going top 15. And Ragnow, that's just crazy. But Harold Landry, a person that I like, but thought he was more of a back end, and a lot of people said, no, he's better than that. He doesn't go in the first round. And then Lorenzo Carter, another edge rusher that was getting some heat, he doesn't go in the first round. So, number of guys still on the board. And so second round, I think is going to be even more better than the first round. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know about what you think about your team's pick. Are you happy with it? What do you think they're going to do in the next few rounds? Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, get the conversation started, and thank you for listening.